Well, that also reminds me to learn that dua about Allah protecting me from laziness and miserliness. There's two different supplications that are at the very end of a lot, like an optional supplication after your tashahud, I think it's called. And one of them is protection from four things, and then one's a protection from four other things. Two of them were like the same. It was like protection from trial of Dajjal, trial of life and death. Um, what are the four things? But then, like, there's another option of that optional supplication at the end, and it's from miserliness and laziness, and that's I stagfurullah, that part of the reason that pigeon um, that we're talking about died may have been from my, like, I can remember laying there last night. It's like, okay, well, this is going well. Tomorrow I'll try out, inshallah, get get we'll put milk in, we'll put powdered milk where there is Gatorade, so it can start to get some vitamins. And I, for some reason, I assumed that the other pigeons were feeding it the way they do with their own children, a child pigeon of that age. But and then I also thought it was resting. It may have just been really weak and looking for a place to die or something. I didn't understand that, and I feel really bad about that. And also that at right at the beginning, it's like that might have been its parent pigeon that had been run over in the street, and then it like probably got hungry and jumped out of its nest, and it too was in the street or on the sidewalk. So it's like it was so full of life. It almost felt like I was like communicating with another sentient animal. Well, I was communicating with another sentient animal, and I was surprised by how intelligent of an animal it was. And to go from that, and then 2 days later, it's already has died. And then we started to think about how that like has some parallels to what's going on in Gaza hospitals and um, Khan Yunis in Gaza City is ill-equipped hospitals and ill uh, like eventually you're going to run out of trained staff. Like you might have the facilities, but then you don't have anyone that knows what they're doing, and obviously I didn't know what I was doing. I started to read about pigeon nutrition. It said, well, leave them alone to their parents, but in this case it was different than like last time I left them alone to their parents, and that pigeon was in a worse state than I thought than the one that I found in the street, which was very healthy when I found it, but within 2 days it had died because I don't think the other pigeons helped feed it. It probably begged them for food and then they would ignore it, and that's because they are raised off regurgitated food of their parents, and I guess if the parents won't participate in feeding that pigeon. But I thought that like another naive thing I was thinking was that pigeons are like a society pigeon. You know, you think of society pigeons, and they do like look like really social up there on the roof. And it looks like I thought some of the pigeons were feeding some of the other pigeons' children. Like I would see like it like looks like they're kissing. I think one pigeon is causing the other pigeon to regurgitate its food when they it's like its beak goes in its mouth, and that probably like makes the parent pigeon regurgitate the nutrient filled milk, which is I don't know. Like, there's a lot about pigeons I don't know that, and that's what we're talking about. These Gaza hospitals. If you run out of hospital staff, then it's just wounded tending to the wounded, and they don't have any training about how to do that. And a lot of it's like not acknowledging that this is like a war where has the international community gotten involved except to help Israel oppress oh well, we got to help Israel go in there and get Hamas, but where's the international um, humanitarian relief for the like? Oh well, we're just gonna save money and believe these lies from the Zionists, Israel, that we're going to believe their lies that every single Palestinian is somehow tied to Hamas, and that like I'd like to see some statistics about what the population, like how numerous is Hamas. It does look like Hamas has been paid and allowed to infiltrate Gaza, and one article I saw even said that Israel helped build up Hamas. It's like they, um, I think I also was told before that Bashar Assad was recruiting his own enemy for the Syrian war to silence the protests or any kind of international outcry about what any other thing going on in his country or a Syrian revolution, and to build up his opposition not as peaceful protesters, but build up his opposition in a I guess you call it a proxy war, because then he came like he was supported by Russia, but who is Hamas supported by? It's like, and there's also conflicting authority over the what was called a Palestinian state. I'm always looking at it in a past tense because that was like almost what little was remaining of the territory known as Palestine. It was able to print its own passports and everything.